Diogo Alves was a Spanish-born Portuguese serial killer. Between 1836 and 1840, he killed 70 people. The crimes he committed were all in the area of the Aguas Livres aqueduct, thus earning the title, Aqueduct Murderer. He was sentenced to death and hanged on February 19, 1841. The head of the killer was separated from the body and placed in a flask to preserve it for scientific purposes, where it is now a tourist attraction too. The murders on the aqueduct remained unproven, but the jury sentenced Alves and his gang for other crimes, in particular, murdering the 4 family members of a doctor. Maria's 11-year-old daughter, Maria de Conseco, testified in court against the gang. Her mother was eventually sent to a lifelong exile in the Portuguese African colonies. Over 177 years after his execution, serial killer Diogo Alves still frightens unsuspecting passers-by who meet his cold gaze. His perfectly preserved head sits in a glass jar of the University of Lisbon's Faculty of Medicine. Born in Galicia in 1810, Alves worked from a young age as a servant in the homes of wealthy citizens in the capital. At age 26, he began working in homes along the Aqueduct of Free Waters, a giant waterway that not only carried water into the city, but also acted as a bridge and roadway for farmers and merchants entering to trade. This is where Alves began his string of murders. Alves would wait on the bridge for people returning with the money they had sold their goods for. After robbing his victims, he pushed them off the 213-foot-tall aqueduct. At first, police thought it was merely a series of copycat suicides, but local residents soon began whispering of an aqueduct killer. Over the next 3 years, Alves sent 70 people to their doom, and police eventually shut the bridge down. Alves wasn't done, however. He formed a gang to murder and rob the wealthy residences he had worked in but was eventually caught. The aqueduct killer was executed by means of hanging, but his story didn't end there. At this time, an era of enlightenment fueled many people's curiosity about what could be learned scientifically about the workings of the mind. Many felt they could explain what made Alves evil by pursuing phrenology, a study of the bumps on one's head. After Alves was dead, doctors severed his head and preserved it for study. Though the secret to evil wasn't discovered in the preserved head of Diogo Alves, the specimen itself has become a curiosity at the college. To this day it is still preserved in a glass vessel, where a solution of formaldehyde has perpetuated the image of a calm man quite contrary to what he really was. The severed head is currently in the anatomical theater of the University of Lisbon's Faculty of Medicine, following the formation of a phrenology cabinet made by José Lourenço de Luz Gomes, which allowed the preservation of Alves' skull, along with that of Matos Lobo, being one of the last subjects to whom the death penalty in Portugal was applied, something quite significant for the judicial history of Portugal, in the old medical surgical school. The head of Diogo Alves was one of the most significant and undoubtedly horrific objects of the passage in 100 pieces for the Museum of Medicine, which took place in the National Museum of Ancient Art in 2005. If you enjoyed this short, please like and subscribe to Best True Crime Documentaries. Thank you and have a good one.